Imagine saving for your dream vacation, only to face disappointment and regret. In this video, we reveal the shocking truths behind the world's most overrated and problematic destinations for 2025. From overwhelming crowds to clever scams, travel isn't always what brochures promise. Buckle up, your next trip might not be what you expect. Paris, the city of romance and art, yet for many in 2025 the dream is shattered. Overcrowding, grime, and disappointment greet visitors, not the magic they imagined. The gap between expectation and reality is so stark, it even has a name: Paris Syndrome. Paris, a romantic city, is also a playground for scammers and thieves targeting tourists. The sheer number of visitors creates a rich hunting ground. The infamous gold ring scam is a classic example. Beware of the friendship bracelet scam in Montmartre. Pickpocketing is an art form in crowded areas like the metro. The RERB train line is high risk for jet-lagged travelers. Always use the official metered taxi queue. Some restaurants present tourists with inflated bills. Constant vigilance can be mentally draining. For many, the stress overshadows the beauty of Paris. Cairo, home to the last surviving wonder of the ancient world, promises awe and history. But for many travelers, the journey is marred by aggressive vendors and scams, turning a dream visit into a stressful ordeal. Instead of wonder, many leave Cairo simply relieved to have survived the experience. Cairo is a city of contrasts, rich in history but challenging for visitors. Chaotic traffic, pollution, and aggressive touts can overwhelm even seasoned travelers. Health concerns, unwanted attention, and a sense of being confined to tourist bubbles often leave visitors feeling exhausted and regretful. Brazil dazzles with vibrant carnivals, stunning beaches, and infectious energy. But beneath the beauty lies a stark reality. Crime and safety concerns often catch tourists off guard. The paradise many dream of can quickly become a challenge, making every adventure a careful balance between wonder and caution. Many travelers find Brazil's famous attractions don't live up to the hype. Rio's beaches are stunning but often overcrowded. Pristine sands are frequently littered with trash. Aggressive vendors and theft threats add stress. Infrastructure outside cities frustrates tourists. Long bus journeys are grueling and uncomfortable. Amazon tours can feel overly commercialized. Tourism impacts local communities and ecosystems. Visitors leave with memories tainted by disappointment. Which one's your favorite so far? Drop it in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for the rest. Egypt's ancient wonders, pyramids, temples, the Nile, draw travelers from around the world. But the reality can be overwhelming. Aggressive vendors, touts, and scams often turn awe into stress, making it hard to enjoy the magic. Many visitors feel more like walking wallets than welcomed guests, eroding trust in the experience. Egypt's ancient wonders draw crowds, but the reality is often disappointing. Overcrowded sites, neglected infrastructure, and ethical concerns overshadow the magic. Many travelers leave feeling regret, as the dream of Egypt clashes with a stressful, compromised experience. The Bahamas, a melody of idyllic scenes and turquoise waters, marketed as a playground for the rich and famous. Yet the staggering costs surprise many. Activities come with exorbitant price tags. Many leave feeling they paid luxury prices for average experiences. Cruise ships bring thousands to Nassau and Freeport, but most visitors only see a crowded, artificial tourist bubble. Duty-free shops, pushy vendors, and little real Bahamian culture. Safety concerns and high costs add to the frustration, leaving many feeling the real paradise is out of reach. For many, the Bahamas is a dream that disappoints. Egypt's pyramids promise awe and wonder, but for many, the reality is crowds, aggressive vendors, and constant hassle. Instead of marveling at ancient wonders, visitors often leave frustrated, their dreams overshadowed by relentless commercialism. The magic of the pharaohs, lost in the noise. Beyond Giza, Egypt's beauty is often overshadowed by crowds, aggressive selling, and constant tipping requests. Even the Nile cruise feels rushed and commercialized. Many leave feeling drained, their memories defined more by hassles than history. Brazil, a nation synonymous with vibrant carnivals, sun-drenched beaches, and the rhythmic pulse of samba, holds a powerful grip on the global imagination. Cities like Rio de Janeiro promise an intoxicating blend of natural beauty and cultural effervescence, from the iconic Christ the Redeemer statue overlooking Guanabara Bay, to the legendary sands of Copacabana and Ipanema. The dream sold to tourists is one of carefree joy, of dancing in the streets, and of soaking in the warmth of a famously welcoming culture. It's a vision of paradise, where life is a celebration set against a backdrop of breathtaking landscapes and infectious energy. However, beneath this glossy veneer of paradise lies a stark and unsettling reality that many tourists are unprepared for: the pervasive issue of crime and personal security. In major tourist hubs like Rio and Sao Paulo, the risk of street crime is not a distant threat but an ever-present concern that dictates how one navigates the city. Reports of muggings, pickpocketing and quicknappings are distressingly frequent, with tourists often being specifically targeted due to their perceived wealth. This forces visitors to adopt a level of hypervigilance that is antithetical to a relaxing holiday, constantly worrying about their belongings and personal safety. The famous beaches, which appear so idyllic in photos, can be hotspots for theft. Leaving your belongings unattended for even a moment to take a dip in the ocean can be a costly mistake. Even walking along the famous mosaic sidewalks of Copacabana after dark is strongly advised against, transforming these iconic landmarks into no-go zones for many. This constant state of alert, the need to hide valuables and be wary of friendly-seeming strangers, fundamentally alters the travel experience. It inhibits spontaneity and freedom, replacing the joy of exploration with a low-level, persistent anxiety that can overshadow the entire trip. This security situation is not merely media hype. It is a lived reality acknowledged by locals and experienced by a significant number of visitors. The fear of crime restricts movement and limits experiences, preventing tourists from fully immersing themselves in the culture. Instead of exploring vibrant neighborhoods, many feel confined to heavily policed tourist zones or their hotel rooms after sunset. This stark contrast between the fantasy of a carefree Brazilian adventure and the reality of navigating a high-risk environment is a primary driver of tourist regret, leaving many feeling that the stress and fear simply weren't worth it. Beyond the critical issue of safety, many tourists find that some of Brazil's most lauded attractions fail to live up to their monumental reputation, leading to a sense of anticlimax. The journey to the Christ the Redeemer statue, for instance, often involves long queues for the tram or vans, followed by a struggle through dense crowds on the viewing platform. The spiritual or awe-inspiring moment one might hope for is often lost in a sea of selfie sticks and jostling tourists, making it difficult to appreciate the view or the statue itself. The experience can feel more like a logistical challenge than a rewarding pilgrimage. Similarly, the world-famous Carnival, while spectacular in its televised form, can be an overwhelming and often disappointing experience on the ground. For the average tourist, accessing the main Sambadrome parades is incredibly expensive, while participating in the blocos or street parties can be a chaotic and sometimes dangerous affair due to immense crowds and the heightened risk of theft. What is marketed as the world's biggest party can feel exclusive and inaccessible, with many tourists left on the periphery, unable to capture the magical experience they had envisioned and paid so much to be a part of. Economic factors also play a significant role in tourist dissatisfaction. Brazil is not a cheap destination, and many visitors are surprised by the high cost of accommodation, food, and tours, especially in popular areas. The value for money can feel poor when you factor in the security risks and the often overcrowded state of major attractions. Tourists often feel they are paying premium prices for a subpar experience where they spend much of their time worrying or waiting in line. This financial strain, coupled with the other challenges, contributes heavily to the feeling that their travel investment did not pay off. When all these factors are combined, the constant threat to personal safety, the underwhelming and overcrowded state of iconic attractions, and the surprisingly high costs, the dream of Brazil begins to fade. The initial excitement gives way to a wearying reality. Tourists who arrive seeking joy and relaxation instead find themselves navigating a complex and often stressful environment. They leave not with memories of samba and sunshine, but with stories of close calls, frustrating crowds, and a sense of being let down, making Brazil a prominent entry on the list of regrettable destinations for 2025. The Dominican Republic is sold as a Caribbean paradise, endless sun, white sand beaches, and luxury resorts. But for many, the all-inclusive bubble feels more like a gilded cage, cut off from real culture and local life. Travelers return home tanned, but with no real stories, just a pleasant, forgettable escape. Beyond the philosophical disappointment of the all-inclusive model, many tourists in 2025 are reporting more tangible issues regarding quality and safety. In the rush to meet tourist demand, the standards at some resorts have reportedly slipped. Complaints about food quality, hygiene, and watered-down drinks are becoming more common. What is advertised as gourmet dining can turn out to be repetitive, lukewarm buffet fare. These inconsistencies in service and quality can make the high price tag of an all-inclusive package feel unjustified, leading to frustration and a sense of being ripped off by the glossy marketing. Furthermore, health and safety have become a more prominent concern. While isolated incidents can be sensationalized, there has been a persistent stream of reports over the years regarding mysterious illnesses and safety lapses at some resorts. This has created a climate of anxiety for some travelers, who spend their vacation warily inspecting their food and drink, and worrying about the security within their resort. The need to be constantly on guard for potential health risks is the very opposite of the carefree escape that these holidays are supposed to provide, adding a layer of stress to the experience. The environmental impact of this model of mass tourism is also becoming impossible to ignore, and it directly affects the tourist experience. The very beaches that draw visitors are under threat. Overdevelopment along the coastline has led to erosion and pollution, and the once pristine waters can sometimes be clouded with seaweed or debris. The natural beauty that forms the core of the Dominican Republic's appeal is, in some areas, being compromised by the infrastructure built to exploit it. Tourists arriving with expectations of immaculate nature can be disappointed to find the reality is less than perfect. All these elements, the isolating nature of the resorts, the declining quality standards, the persistent safety worries, and the visible environmental strain, combine to create a potent recipe for regret. The promise of a perfect, hassle-free paradise is increasingly being broken. Tourists are finding that their dream vacation is fraught with concerns and disappointments that the glossy brochures conveniently omit. They leave feeling that they overpaid for an inauthentic and sometimes worrying experience, making the Dominican Republic a destination that many would hesitate to recommend or return to in the coming year. The Bahamas. The very name conjures images of idyllic white sand beaches, crystal-clear turquoise waters, and luxurious resorts beckoning travelers to a world of sun-drenched relaxation. It's a destination synonymous with paradise, a postcard-perfect escape that has dominated travel brochures and Instagram feeds for decades. Many dream of sipping cocktails by the pool, swimming with the famous pigs of Exuma, and leaving all their worldly cares behind under the gentle sway of a palm tree. This is the image that is sold, the promise of an ultimate Caribbean getaway where every moment is supposed to be flawless, serene, and utterly unforgettable. But what if this carefully curated image is just that, an image? Beneath this glossy veneer of tropical perfection, a more complicated and often disheartening reality has begun to surface for many unsuspecting tourists. The paradise they paid a premium for can quickly unravel, revealing a landscape fraught with unexpected challenges and profound disappointments. Recent travel advisories from multiple governments, including the United States, have painted a starkly different picture, one that includes warnings of violent crime, even in areas previously considered safe for tourists. The dream vacation can morph into a stressful ordeal, where vigilance becomes a constant companion, and the promised relaxation remains just out of reach, overshadowed by a pervasive sense of unease. The primary source of this growing regret stems from a significant disconnect between expectation and reality, particularly concerning safety. Tourists arriving in Nassau or Freeport, often confined to their sprawling, all-inclusive resorts, may feel a false sense of security. However, venturing beyond these sanitized bubbles can be a jarring experience. Reports of armed robberies, sexual assaults, and other violent crimes targeting tourists have seen a disturbing increase. The very freedom to explore, to immerse oneself in the local culture, is curtailed by the legitimate fear for one's personal safety, turning what should be an adventure into a self-imposed confinement. This isn't just media sensationalism, it's a documented trend that governments are now formally warning their citizens about. The Bahamas may look like paradise, but for many, the high prices and underwhelming value lead to disappointment. From expensive meals to costly attractions, travelers often feel overcharged and let down. The memories? Not relaxation but regret and financial anxiety. The Maldives, synonymous with ultimate luxury and romantic escapism, overwater bungalows, turquoise lagoons, and white sand promise paradise. But once you arrive, you're a captive guest, confined to your resort, with no local culture to explore and every meal or activity at a premium price. For many, this gilded cage leaves a lingering sense of regret, beauty without soul, and a paradise that feels strangely hollow. The Maldives luxury resorts promise paradise, but their beauty comes at a cost. Fragile coral reefs are damaged, waste piles up, and climate change threatens the island's very existence. Tourists witness bleached reefs, feeling the weight of their impact. For many, the dream now feels hollow, an unsustainable paradise fading fast. Travel smarter, not harder. The world is vast, filled with both dream destinations and hidden pitfalls. Your stories and insights help us all make better choices. Support our community, subscribe, and share your experiences below. Thanks for watching. Until next time, travel safe and travel smart.